What an energy thank you สปีกเกอร์ท่านต่อไปนะครับคนนี้ต้องเรียกว่าเป็นนักอภิปรัชญาครับเป็นผู้เชี่ยวชาญด้านกฎแห่งการดึงดูดน่าจะคุ้นเคยกับผลงานของเขาดีนะครับกับ The Secret The Attractive Factor และ Zero Limits ที่ขายดีทั่วโลกเขายังเป็นประธานบริษัท Hypnotic Marketing ครับเป็นนักเขียนแนวสะกดจิตอันดับต้นของโลกเขาสร้างการเรียนการสอนจากที่บ้านด้วยว่า Hypnotic Selling Secret สร้างรายได้ 450,000 เหรียญสหรัฐนะครับภายในเวลาเพียงแค่ 3 วันทุกคนครับผมมั่นใจว่าณจุดนี้หลายคนอยากจะฟังสิ่งเขาเรียกว่าประสบการณ์ที่แขกรับเชิญท่านต่อไปของเราเนี่ยได้ผ่านมาและคุณสามารถประสบการณ์นั้นมาใช้ในชีวิตตัวเองได้ Ladies and gentlemen please put your hands together for Dr. Joe Vitale
But inside, even today when I tell that story to you now, my energy goes up. My excitement goes up. My gratitude goes up. It's a stupid Bangkok, Thailand. Wow. What a great group. Smiling, happy. Best seats in the house, right? Except for those seats, which are also the best seats in the house. How are you all doing? All right, that sounded kind of dead. How are you all doing? That sounds much better. How did you like Andres revealing some of his secrets? The man is right here. Stand up and give him a standing ovation. This is Andres. He's the reason this is happening. This man right here. Homeless to billionaire. You are an inspiration. You are an inspiration. Thank you. This is my second time here, and I've grown to love the people, the country, and certain foods, like Tom Yum soup, which has become a joke. Yes, I love that soup. And fresh coconut water in the morning. It beats bottled water. I mean, come on. Coconut water back where I live in Texas comes in a can. And it comes from Hawaii or Thailand. They ship it over there. It's not healthy at all. But I drink it. How many have heard me speak before? You can leave. Nothing new here. Same old, same old. How many have read some of my books? You can leave too. Does that leave two people in the room? What I've been asked to do is reveal the missing secret to success. And I am going to do that in 2 parts. I'm going to do that part 1 right now, and then part 2 will be tomorrow morning. And part 2 will be longer, because what I want to do is give you ways to actually delete the limiting beliefs that are within you so you can have, do, and be what you want. Does that sound of interest? I would hope it sounds of interest. You have people here that are speaking to you that are legends. Mike Tyson. Yeah, big deal, right? Heavyweight boxing champion. Let me tell you something. When I was a kid, 16, 17 years old, this is true. I wanted to be the heavyweight boxing champion of the world. That is right. But I had never met an actual heavyweight boxing champion. Once I did, I realized I didn't have a chance. I met George Foreman, who's 7,000 feet tall. I met Floyd Patterson. And then yesterday I met Mike Tyson, who is a wall. I mean, he's just a wall. He's just standing there of nothing but this powerhouse. Soft-spoken, but his fist is of thunder. And I wouldn't have stood. It's a good thing I became an author. It's so much gentler, so much easier. I sit at my computer. In the old days, it was a typewriter, and I just click. Nobody's fighting back. Nobody's hitting me. The ring, I would not have stood a chance. So I want to tell you the missing secret to success in these two parts. The first part is going to be a little bit about my story, which I hope is of interest to you, because like Andres, I was homeless. I was homeless too. I was homeless in Dallas, Texas in the late 1970s. No fun, no picnic, and I used to not even want to talk about it because it was so mentally disturbing. It was so traumatic and it was so embarrassing. But I've learned, because I've since gone on to have this great level of success in my life, that you found it inspiring. Other people have found it inspiring to learn that if Andres can do it, and if I can do it, you can do it. Do you love the sound effects I came with? We worked so hard to make that timing just right. I don't have a heart pacemaker, but it sounded like one was going off. Okay, so I'm going to reveal the missing secret to success. I'm calling it a new way to attract what you really want and achieve it. It's not just about naming it. It's not just about wishing for it. It's not about just wanting it. It's not about just desiring it. I want you to have it. Do you want it? Whatever that success is for you, do you want it? Are you ready to own it? Let me give you a little secret. This is something I didn't plan to say, but I heard Mike Tyson say it last night when he was being interviewed from Andres. And Mike said at the age of, I think I was 14 years old, he said that you had to already own being a success, feel being a success, and be a success before you were to be a success. He becomes this boxing legend at the age of 20. But beginning at the age of 14, it might have been 12, but at the age of 12 or 14 years old, already owning that he is the boxing champion now. This is one of my favorite techniques, and I'm going to be talking about it more tomorrow, on how you can hack time. You can shortcut your time so that you can have, do, or be whatever it is, fill in the blank for you, at almost warp speed. This is an exciting time we live in. The fact that you have events like going on here today and tomorrow, put on by this wonderful person who's putting it together and bringing in the legends like Jack Canfield's going to be speaking later. He's been an inspiration in my life. Do you know what it is as an honor for me to stand up here and have Jack sitting there taking notes? I don't know what he's taking notes about, though. Don't worry. He'll have a meeting with me later. Anyway, all of this is available to you, but I want you to start now by imagining what do you want to have, do, or be. But not just imagine it, own it. Own it as if it's real now. Wear the heavyweight boxing champion belt now, which is what Mike was doing when he was a teenager. And at one point later in his life, he's actually owning it and wearing it. But you don't wait. You actually own it now. So whatever it is that you want to have, do, or be, don't let it be off in the distance in your mind. Actually, today, begin, plant the seed that you own it right now. Can you begin with that? That's another weak yes. Can we begin with that? All right. Oh, there you are. You are here. You got to remember that it's kind of dark for me to look out there. So if you don't respond to me, I think you all left. And I know Jack's here, and Lisa's here, and Andres is here, and there's a few people over here, but I think the rest of you left. I spoke in Lima, Peru. There was 19,500 people there. 19,500 people, but because of the lighting, I came out on stage, and I stood in front of what I thought was 200 people. And I spent most of my time feeling bad for the people who put on the event, because I thought they didn't sell the tickets they wanted. Turns out later, there were 19,500 people there. I just couldn't see them. They went on forever in the back. So when I asked for some sort of response, please, say it. I don't know which way I'm supposed to point. Oh, no, we didn't want you. Oh, is that embarrassing or what? You are the masterpiece of your own life. You are the Michelangelo of your experience. The David that you are sculpting is you, and you do it with your thoughts. How many have seen the movie The Secret? Almost everybody. I've gone to a few places where they haven't seen it yet. And if for some reason you haven't, you can go to thesecret.tv, and it is in book form, so you can get it at Amazon. And it's the book that changed Andre's life when he called that friend when he's homeless and said, hey, I need money. And his friend said, I'm not going to send you any money. I'm going to send you a book. Can you imagine that? If somebody that's a friend of mine who was homeless and called me up and said, I need money, I would have sent the book and some money. That friend only sent a book. Wow, that was a bold thing. I asked Andres, did you ever go thank that guy? And he said, no. And I said, I think you should go thank him. Your life changed forever because of that book. So this was a quote that I gave in the movie The Secret. And I mentioned that I was homeless. That's me in 1974. So first, yes, I had hair at one point in my life. Unkept, unwashed, uncombed. And yes, I wore sunglasses. And yes, I look like I'm in The Sopranos. Or yes, I'm in the Mafia. My best friend, I'm hugging my best friend at the time. That was a beer cake. I actually remember that moment. I know where that was. I was unhappy, angry, alone, desperate. I had dreams. I wanted to be an author. I was writing. But my mindset was so dark, so moody, so melancholy, that here I am hugging a beer keg. I don't drink at all anymore, but back then, 1974, there's my best friend. Oh, the memories. I don't know what I'm pointing at. Today, I play the guitar. I wear t-shirts that say, be happy, or this one says, expect miracles, trying to put out a different vibe for the world. Be happy. Look at a little heart on my chest. Doesn't that look nice? Don't I have a nice smile? Compared to the earlier one, this is so much better. I don't even know this myself. I've written 76 books. How many knew that? Nobody, right? Well, Lisa over here knows that. She counted all of the books because she thought I was lying. I've written 76 books. I didn't even know it myself. This is one of the things in life. If you keep taking action, you keep doing what it is for you to do, at one point, you turn around and you realize, look at all I've accomplished. Andre, 16 years later, with his big empire. Me, look at these books, The Attractor Factor, The Key, The Awakened Millionaire, At Zero, books I've co-authored, Life's Missing Instruction Manual, audio programs, The Abundance Manifesto, The Secret to Attracting Money. They go on and on and on. This is a career. This is a life work. And I'm still doing it. I'm going to turn 65, I think, this month. Isn't it this December 1st? Yep, Capricorn here. I'm considered a celebrity. I've been in the movie The Secret, The Big Idea, Fox News and Friends, Newsweek. I'm leading up to a point here. How does a man go from homeless, hugging a beer keg in 1974 to having pretty impressive credentials to even me with this kind of material that I'm showing you? How does that happen? I don't know if you care about cars. I do. I like cars. Anybody know what a spiker is? Nobody. That's okay. It's a handmade car out of Holland. That's one of 50. There's only 2 in the United States. That's the one I own. I'm at a point where I was homeless at one point, and the question I used to get was, what kind of car did you live in when you were homeless? It would have been so nice to have a car to live in. I didn't have a car. I think one of the reasons I collect cars is that I'm trying to get over the fact that I didn't have one when I was homeless. So I'm backing up now. I'm just collecting them. And that's one of them. I'm now a singer-songwriter. I have created 15 albums. 15 albums in 6 years. In 6 years. I say it because I'm astonished too. I hire people that are in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame to do the albums with me. I've been in Rolling Stone magazine for one of my albums, the very first one, I believe it was, in 2012, and that was the album Strut. Anybody know who Melissa Etheridge is? Rock and roll legend, some of you do. I've been a fan for 20-some years. I got to study with her. I went to her house. I studied in her studio. We co-authored a song together. It is mind-blowing what you can accomplish. And again, this is why I'm sharing this. It's not about me. I'm telling my story, much like Andres told his story, to inspire you, to light a fire under you. I'm called Mr. Fire because what I'm doing is lighting a fire under each one of you so that you can go out there and make a difference You can go and have, do, and be whatever it is that you want. And because of that time with Melissa Etheridge, I ended up writing and creating this album called The Great Something. And The Great Something has a song on it that I wrote for her. The whole album is dedicated to her. That is my latest singer-songwriter album. 6 singer-songwriter albums in about a same period, 6 some years. Again, how does somebody do this? How can you go from wherever you are to wherever you want to be? How did Andres go from homeless on the beach to where he is today? I write books that I give away. If you haven't read Attract Money Now, you can go to attractmoneynow.com, download it, read it. Because one of the questions I get is, how do you attract more money? That's one of the most common questions I get. And there's a missing secret to attracting money. It's the same missing secret to having, doing, or being whatever you want. It's the same missing secret I'm telling you today, and we'll tell you how to remove and remedy tomorrow. Andres, you just heard Andres speak. You just heard Andres share some of his info. Most people dream of great achievements. Very few stay awake and fulfill them. I'm here to awaken you. I think what we're here to do is to awaken to our life path, to our life meaning, and to actually implement the very things we've been excited about, we've been dreaming about, we've been secretly wanting to achieve. You heard a lot of this where Andre said that he wanted to prove the principles of The Secret wrong. And here's a tip, because I'm repeating the fact that you heard this story where he said the very first thing he wanted to do was manifest a cup of coffee. Yesterday, when I was being interviewed for one of the numerous interviews for the local media, somebody had said, what is the big problem when people try to implement the secret, the law of attraction, these success principles, and get past the missing secret? What is the thing people are doing wrong? And the thing that I see them doing wrong is they're jumping too big in the first step. Most people are going to begin by saying, if they want something and you ask them what they want, they'll say, I want $1 million, or I want this big house, or I want my own business. And they're not making anywhere near the $1 million. They don't have the big house or the means to it, and they're not even in business. What Andres was doing was saying, I want to manifest a cup of coffee. Small, believable. At the time, a stretch for him. He was homeless. The next thing he did when he thought that was a fluke was going for manifesting lunch. And you can see that he built a belief muscle. A belief muscle. This is like when you go into the gym, and the very first time you've gone, when you've been away for a very long time, you can't lift very many weights. You can't do very much cardio. You have to do a little bit at a time. And as you do, you build the bicep, you build the different muscles. And in this case, you build a belief muscle. I find this incredibly inspiring. Because today, this homeless to billionaire man has he may have more than 21 businesses now. The last I heard it was 21 businesses, 250 employees, largest real estate developer in southern Thailand, making deals with Best Western Premier, credits his success to me, Bob Proctor, and the great Jack Canfield sitting right here. This is inspiring. This is why when I met Andres last year, I said, I want to help you with your book. I want to help you with events. I want you to be out there in a big way. I want you to be on stage as a speaker. I want you to shake the earth because your story is the kind of story that awakens people to their own inner potential. That's what he was doing for me. And as a result, we did work out writing this book, Homeless to Billionaire, which is going to be out soon. I don't have all the details, but Homeless to Billionaire. He's revealing 18 secrets. I want to pause right here and tell you one of the secrets that I got from Andres, and this is the idea of giving. Now, in this country, I learned a year ago when I came, which was also in December, my birthday month, I learned that in Thailand, on people's birthdays, they don't receive gifts. They give gifts. You have no idea how that gave me whiplash mentally. Being a Christmas baby, being born on December 29th, One of my big complaints throughout life is that people would walk up to me and say, here's your holiday present, and by the way, it's your birthday present. I made a list of those people. I kept that list throughout my life. And in later years, as I turned into my 50s and so forth, I started telling everybody, I said, can we do a little better around this? And I would actually complain, and people would honor my wishes, and they would make sure they gave me separate gifts. Well, it wasn't until I came to Thailand a year ago that I realized how selfish that was. It took me my entire life to go to a country who practiced a different form of giving. And Andres talked about that. And I decided right then and there that my birthday, the one last year when I turned 64, was going to be completely different. I wasn't going to request anything. I wasn't going to keep a list of people who gave me different things or didn't give me anything. I was going to actually tell everybody, I don't want anything. I'm doing the giving. And I did things like going to places where children didn't get their gifts for the holidays. My birthday's 4 days after the major holiday. And I would go and buy gifts for the kids and give them. Because I learned that from Andres. And Andres learned it because he came from Sweden to this country and heard it as news to him as well. But here's what happened. Not only did he feel great and make a difference in the kids that he was touching, but he noticed his business improved. He noticed the deals went through. He noticed that he started to have things happen that weren't happening before. I didn't begin giving last year to get. I began giving because I saw that it was a different way of being. And one of the things that Andres talks about in the book is this idea of vibrational giving. And I want to seed you with this because vibrational giving is this amazing concept that he says the feeling that you give when you give anything to somebody is the feeling that's going to come back to you. It's not the gift, it's your internal vibration, mindset, feeling, atmosphere, whatever phrase you want to use. That's the feeling coming back to you. So when you're giving anything, if you're giving a tip to your driver or to somebody who's done something for you, or you're giving gifts to a friend or to somebody that's having a birthday, whatever it happens to be, the feeling you have inside of you is the feeling that will be multiplied. Does this make sense? It's breathtaking, it's refreshing, it's from Andres, and it's spelled out in the book, Homeless to Billionaire. So, again, how do I go from homeless to where I am? How do I go from no book, struggling author in 1974, hugging a beer keg, to having 76 some books? How do I go from no music to having 15 albums? How do I go from no singing songwriting to having 6 albums and singing on stage recently at Lisa's event on the stage, where I got on stage with a guitar and sang solo with one of my original songs? How do you do this? That's the point of this whole 2 days. That's the point of my presentation now, and especially tomorrow, because tomorrow I'm going to give you specific techniques to melt those blocks so that you can have, do, and be what you want. I call it the missing secret. And so let me explain what this is a little bit. I know almost all of you have seen the movie The Secret. Almost all of you have read my books or Jack's books, and you know some of the concepts here. And some of you have tried them and realized that it didn't always work. It always felt like it was hit and miss. I met many people who would tell me, I love the movie, loved you in the movie, I'm inspired by this, but it doesn't work for me. How many have heard that? It doesn't work for me. Yeah, be honest. You've either said it yourself or you've heard somebody else say it. And the idea is you have conscious intentions. Your conscious intentions are statements like, I intend to make more money. I intend to have more sales. I intend to be healthier. I intend to have this soulmate relationship. I intend to fill in the blank, have, do, or be, whatever it is that you want. That's all well and good. That's your conscious intention. That's on your conscious mind. But you also have what I call counter intentions. counter intentions are in the unconscious mind. The conscious mind is this little tiny operating system that thinks it's running the show. The unconscious mind is the vast iceberg under the water database of beliefs, experiences, paradigms, and more. Those unconscious counter intentions are what you are manifesting. So if you are trying to have success in one particular field, you are trying to have, do, or be something, and you're finding it difficult, very often it's because you have an unconscious belief about your intention. The law of attraction, which is most of what we're talking about here, works on your unconscious thoughts, not your conscious thoughts. So you can sit there all day and say, I'm going to attract more money. I'm going to attract more business. But if unconsciously you think money's bad, or I don't deserve it, or I'm not good enough, or this stuff works for other people but it doesn't work for me, any variation of those limiting beliefs will prevent you from having what you want. You will sabotage your own effort. You will block it from coming about, but you won't even know it because it's in your unconscious mind. This is why this work is so profound. This is why this work takes place in the unconscious mind, and when you take care of those blocks, you truly can have, do, and be what you want. When people have asked me, how have you written 76 books? I don't have any negative limiting beliefs in me that say I can't write a book or I can't write the book quickly. How have I created 15 some albums? I don't have any beliefs in me now, I did in the beginning, that said I couldn't do it. Whenever you go to do something you've never done before, you're going to come up against some of these limiting beliefs. You're going to come up against some of the limiting beliefs because you're stretching out of your comfort zone. And anything out of your comfort zone is going to make you uncomfortable. It's a sign that you have negative beliefs and limiting beliefs. It's not a sign not to go. It's not a sign not to pursue what you want. One of my quotes that's out there quite a bit on Instagram and Twitter and all those places is, you always get what you unconsciously believe and expect. You always get what you unconsciously believe and expect. How many times have you had something happen in your life and you go, I knew it was going to happen? You already unconsciously expected it. So, here's how the universe works in Dr. Joe's opinion. In Dr. Joe's opinion, it's very bold of me to say this, but the requests that you're sending out to what we'll call the universe are going up, and you're also receiving inspiration, ideas, inspired actions are coming to you from what we'll call the universe here. But as they're coming in and going out, they're hitting your beliefs. They're hitting your beliefs. You have conscious beliefs up here, and those are the ones you're aware of. That's why you'll say, well, I really believe money is good. I really believe I'm a good person. I really believe I deserve success. Those are your conscious beliefs. Your unconscious beliefs are the ones that are actually bigger, bolder, deeper, and active. The unconscious beliefs are the ones that are actually preventing your thoughts from going out to be manifested or preventing your inspiration from reaching you. This is a huge concept. The results you received are always according to your unconscious beliefs. I could probably stop there, let you memorize that, and go home. That's how important this overview is. That's how important this little cheat sheet to the universe is. I have found that when I, sitting over here, and this could be you, you are sitting here, I am sitting here, and you declare something, you want to have something, you want to do something, you want to have a success on some level, you are sending your request up. You're sending it from your brain to the universe, to the collective unconscious, if you want to use that sort of psychological phrase. And as it's going out to the collective unconscious, it goes through your belief system. So if it hits a belief in your mind that says, well, that works for Andres, and that works for Joe, and that works for Jack, but it doesn't work for me, you will make it real. It doesn't mean it's real. You will make it real. And it will be real in your reality. It'll be real in your life experience. But when you change the beliefs, when you change these beliefs and you declare, I intend to be a musician, I intend to be an author, I intend to be a real estate developer, whatever it happens to be, that'll go through uninterrupted. It'll go out to be manifested. By the same token, when the ideas come in, I love inspiration. I love ideas that just kind of descend from who knows where. When the ideas come in, you will be able to receive them and you will be able to act on them. Does this make sense? Do you have any questions about it? Something leap up in your mind? Are you good with this? It's something I really want you to chew on, because one of the things Andres said in his early presentation, which I so loved, Andres, congratulations for doing it again and opening up everybody and warming them up and sharing your story, was the idea that you, for the longest time, kept thinking you had no control. You had no control in Sweden. You had no control when you came here. That everything was happening to you. When you change that, that's a belief. First, let's stop there. That's a belief. Everything's happening to you. You have no control. That is a belief. As long as you believe it, it will feel real, and you will make it real in your life. But when you change it, then you find out that the universe has actually got your back, that when you declare that you want to have something and you're clear of the limiting beliefs, you're able to create, you're able to receive, you're able to manifest without interruption. And you have a completely different life. My God, when I was homeless, I thought it was the world against me. I thought I had no power. I thought I was a victim. I am the same Joe Vitale, older, decades away from that experience, but the big change is here. In my mind, in my heart, in my soul. And that change is available to all of you. Do you want to know more about that change? God, there's that weak yes again. Do you want to know more about that change? Oh, there's the life. I love life. So we were talking about money earlier. Consciously, you may say, I intend to attract money. But unconsciously, you may still think money is evil or money is bad. You have to clear the unconscious to attract what you want. And that goes into how. How. The clearer you are, the faster you will attract what you want. If you think back to the graph I just showed you, when you're not clear, when you have those beliefs that are blocking you, you can't create. Now that I'm in the world of music, I have run into professional musicians, some of them in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, some of them Grammy-nominated people who are not producing, who are not recording. They've done like one album in their life. I've done 15. The big difference is they've not cleared their beliefs. I have found that when you clear your beliefs, you can have, do, and be whatever it is that you want faster than ever before. Why? There's nothing interrupting you anymore. The blocks aren't there anymore because the blocks were never out there. The blocks were never in society. The blocks were never in other people. The blocks were never in the economy. The blocks were never in your DNA. The blocks were never in your collective history. The blocks are in your beliefs. The clearer you are, the faster you will attract what you want. That ought to be incredible news for you right there. Because between me, Jack, Mike, the other speakers, Natalie, and what I'm doing tomorrow and everything else that's happening tomorrow, you're going to clear these beliefs. You're going to clear them once and for all and forever. Now, please tell me that's exciting to you. I believe you. I believe you. Okay, so where do you want to go is where this all begins. What do you want to have, do, or be? Intention ignites the fire. Intention starts the motor. Intention is where you decide that I'm going in this direction. This is what I want. So to the best of your ability, I want you to write down right now, what would you want today? What do you want to have, do, or be? I'm going to walk you through refining that, polishing that, but let's write it down. You don't have to share it with anybody. You don't have to pass it forward. This is for you alone. What do you want to have, do, or be beginning today? Where do you want to go? Intention starts your motor. You get to choose. The first question is, what would you like to have, do, or be? Which is the question I've been giving you. The second one is, what would be cool to have in your life? Which is an easier way. Some people can't decide on what they want because they put too much pressure on it, on themselves. But I'm really saying, what would be fun to have? What would be cool to experience? What would you welcome into your life if it just fell out of the sky? What would you welcome if you could have anything at all? And if you don't know, write what you don't want and then write the opposite of it, which is a technique I think Andres was talking about earlier, and it's in my book, The Attractor Factor. If you really don't know what you want, you write down what you don't want. I don't want to be broke. I don't want to be lonely. I don't want to be unemployed. I don't want to be starving. I don't want to be in debt. Then turn those into intentions. I want to be independently wealthy. I want to be in a romance. I want to have work. I want to be employed. I want my own home, whatever it happens to be. Write it down. Writing it down makes it real. Writing it down communicates to your brain that this is what you want. You're also using more senses because you're looking at what you're writing. You get to choose. How fun is that? One of the other quotes I'm known for is, a goal should scare you a little and excite you a lot. A goal should scare you a little and excite you a lot. We want that little bit of scare in there to activate your enthusiasm, to activate your adrenaline. You're leaving your comfort zone a little bit, but at the same time, it's a good thing. You're stretching your boundaries. You're stretching your belief system. All by doing this first step, writing down a goal or an intention that excites you, but makes you just a little bit nervous. I know last year when I met Andres and he picked me up in the van and he told me his story, and I said, have you ever told it? And he said, no. And I said, well, you're putting on your own event. Why don't you get on stage? I could see that he was nervous about it, but I could also see a part of him hungered to do it. So it was a goal that scared him a little and excited him a lot. Those are the kind of goals I want you to write down. I love for people to think big. It's one of my greatest, most enjoyable concepts in conversations. And when somebody tells me a goal, or I even state a goal, it's like, how can I make it bigger? And that often brings up the question, what's impossible? And I remember somebody saying, well, if you can have anything you want, what about time travel? Is time travel possible? According to a 2017 article in Newsweek, scientists were already doing it. They were only going seconds away, but they were already moving past our limited perceptions and our beliefs. Is that amazing or what? So many people, when I encourage them to write down what their intentions are, will start to come up with, I can't have what I want. If anything were possible, I'd be able to do time travel. Well, time travel is possible. What about teleportation? New York Post, July 11, 2017 said, this is happening too. I remember writing an article on my blog at one point about the idea that anything is possible. And one well-meaning but skeptical person said, well, what about limb regeneration? And I thought, well, that's a good one. Let me Google it. I Googled it, and it finds out that that's not only possible, it's being done. And they're finding that there's research being done with something called the acorn worm, that they're looking at regrowing limbs on amputees. I don't know that anything's impossible. I don't know that we really have any limits outside of the perceived ones. the accepted ones in our own brain. And we have the great quotes, Nelson Mandela, "It always seems impossible until it's done." Robert Heinlein, "Everything is theoretically impossible until it is done." So when you're writing your goals, I don't want you to edit them. I don't want you to think it's impossible or it's impossible for me. I want you to think anything is possible. I want you to think that I can have, do, or be, fill in the blank. I want you to think if Joe was homeless and could be here, if Andres was homeless and could be here, and all the different speakers you have here who have gone through so many different challenges, including Mike Tyson, and yet have surpassed and transcended and showed you that there are no real limits, then I want you to go and write down what you really want to have, do, or be. So this is where in your book, I know you all have books, you write your intention, and whatever you wrote, can you make it bigger? Can you make it bigger? Can you elaborate on it? Can you stretch it a little bit? Can you make it a little scarier and a little bit more exciting? Can you add something to it that makes it even bigger? Because it all starts with that goal. I know when you're sitting here right now, you're thinking, well, I don't even know how to do it. What if I write this goal down and I don't know where to begin? You don't need to know how to begin. That will be revealed to you. And as we do the clearing processes, mostly tomorrow, and as you hear the other speakers today and tomorrow, you're going to be finding out just exactly what to do to make this happen. So the very first thing to be aware is the missing secret is the idea that you have to get clear of the limiting beliefs in your conscious and unconscious mind before you can have, do, or be what you want. Are you clear about that? That's a weak yes. Are you clear about that? Oh, you are here. Okay, I didn't think you left. Stating an intention will bring up the counter intentions, which is why it's so cool that you write those intentions down. You write the intentions down now, knowing that as you're thinking about them later this afternoon, you're going to have doubts, you're going to have fears, you're going to have concerns. When I decided, it was on what's called my bucket list to be a musician, and it was around the age of 60 that I decided it, I had all kind of fears come up. Fears about who am I to do this? I'd never been in a studio as a musician, never wrote a song, never sang a song, didn't even sing in the shower, didn't sing behind the wheel of the car, had guitars, played a few chords, but didn't really know what I was doing. All the beliefs, all the limitations, all of the blocks, all of the counter intentions surfaced, and I almost didn't do it. I almost didn't try because I kept thinking, well, who am I to do this? And I remember I took a songwriting workshop with Kevin Welch and Ray Wiley Hubbard, and I did it terrified. I remember going to the songwriting workshop, and there's only 6 people there, but 2 Americana legend musicians, and I kept thinking, I don't know what I'm doing. This is not the right place for me. And then I had to tell myself, you're going here because you don't know what you're doing. You're going to a songwriting workshop because you want to learn songwriting. And Ray Wiley Hubbard was there, and he said he still has doubts that show up. He still has insecurities when it comes to writing his material. But he learned to ask himself a question. There's a question I want to share with you. He would ask himself, where's the proof that I can't do this? Where's the proof that I can't do this? And I remember internalizing it and going, where's the proof I can't learn to sing? Where's the proof I can't learn to play guitar? Where's the proof I can't learn to write songs? Where's the proof that I can't go into the studio? Where's the proof that I can't get a band? Where's the proof that I can't do this? This is what I want you to ask yourself. Where is the proof that you can't have the level of success you're dreaming about right now? Right now it's a concept in your mind. Maybe it's fuzzier, maybe it's getting more crystallized as we're talking here and you're sitting with it. But where's the proof that you can't have, do, or be it? The reality is there isn't any proof. You haven't done it yet. You haven't tried it yet. What I'll be sharing tomorrow are 5 ways to correct the limiting beliefs so that you remove that missing secret and you're in what's called alignment. Your conscious and unconscious mind are lined up so that you move in the direction of what you want. When your conscious and subconscious mind are aligned, you have integrity, you have full power, and when you say you're going to do something and you state your intention, you go forth and you do it. Because there's no blocks. Some of the people would ask me, what about procrastination? Procrastination is another sign of having these internal blocks. It's another sign of the missing secret and effect still working. So as you get clear of these different things, you will be able to take action. You'll take action faster than ever before, and you'll get results faster than ever before. But I want to share the nuts and bolts tomorrow when I have a longer period, but also throughout today and throughout tomorrow with the other speakers, you're going to be learning a lot of ways to do this. I know when you learn from Jack is a fountain of knowledge, wisdom, techniques, stories. You're going to get so much from that alone that it's going to take you way down the road in manifesting what you want. When you hear from people like Natalie, Miss Universe, and you hear from Mike Tyson, heavyweight boxing champion, you're going to be inspired thinking, well, if they can do it, Andres can do it, Joe can do it, all of these people can do it, then you can do it. Even now, as I'm on stage talking to you, you're removing your barriers. You are removing barriers to your success right now. The stories I've been telling you are speaking to your unconscious mind. The stories I'm telling you are sending signals into that database where the old limiting programming has been living. It's already leaving. The very fact that you are here has got your mind to realize that you have raised your hand and stood and made a stand to change your life forever. Or you wouldn't even be here. By declaring you're going to this event, by declaring that you're staying here for today, you're staying here for tomorrow, you're taking notes, you're filling out the workbook, and you're doing everything that's being asked of you by your various guru speakers here. As you do all of that, your unconscious mind is reformatting. It is taking all of that in and realizing this is a new direction. This is a new day. This is a new transformation in your life. You would not be here. You could have made the choice to stay home and play on Facebook or Instagram or whatever they do instead of doing something for you. So you've already begun the change. You've already begun it from this hour I've been speaking with you. Because I've been speaking to your unconscious mind as well as your conscious mind. And the various insights, the stories, the tips, the techniques that I've been giving you are all part of what's entering your mind now and igniting it. We're removing some of those limiting beliefs by what we're saying right now. And I can't stress enough the very fact that you signed up to be here. When you signed to be here, whether you did that online, you did that at the door, and you paid your money, and you put your name down, and you put your signature down, you made a stand. You made a promise. You told your own inner self that I am doing something to change my life. I am doing something to anchor this new direction. And then you showed up. All of this is part of the clearing. All of this is part of the new anchoring of the new you. I'm excited for you. If you can have somebody like Andres, who is, you're only 36 at this point, right? You're 36 years old, doing what he's doing, and you're going to have me up here at 65 still doing what I'm doing and creating even more. And then tomorrow with all these other people, all these other material coming to you, your life is going to be on fire with the most inspiration that I could ever imagine. I want you all to take notes. I want you all to be present. I want you all to be dreaming big. I want you all in your seats here tomorrow when I go through these clearing techniques. But for now, I want you all to tell me how excited you are. How excited are you for this new life that's beginning right now? How excited? I probably should have cued you with a yay or something like that. Okay, one more time. Are you excited about the new life? Yes! Oh, one more time. Are you excited about this new life? Yes! I love all of you. Andres, thank you for putting this on, and I will see you tomorrow.
Dr. Joe Vitale, thank you very much, sir. We'll see you again on stage tomorrow. แล้วคนที่สนใจนะครับ ดร. โจได้ทิ้งไว้กับคอร์สเรียนแบบ 3 in 1 กันเลยทีเดียวนะครับ สนใจติดต่อได้โต๊ะทะเบียนด้วย And for those of you who bought tickets including lunch, go get your meal tickets right at the registration table. Or if you want to join us for buffet lunch, we do sell them tickets for 2,200 baht each. Now it's 5 minutes to noon. Let's say we'll go to lunch for an hour and we'll be right back. We'll meet here back again at 1 p.m. with Mike Tyson and Mr. Jack Canfield. We'll be right back. Have a good lunch.
Hello, Bangkok. How are you? No, how are you really? Amazing. I hear amazing. I know you're amazing. How is this side doing? Oh, this side isn't doing well? Tell me how great you feel so far. How great do you feel? Can you do better than that? How great do you feel? That's that side. What about this side? How great do you feel? Oh, I think this side's winning so far. Now together, how great do you feel? Yeah! Is this an amazing event or what? 2 days of some legends here. Mike Tyson speaking, heavyweight champion. You've got Miss Universe over here. You've got Jack Canfield speaking yesterday. I spoke yesterday. I'm speaking again, obviously, today. How many heard me yesterday? Some of you, and you still came back. Wow, thank you. What I promised yesterday was to reveal the missing secret to success. The missing secret to success. Oh, there we go. And what I told you is that that's the whole event here. The whole event is called The Missing Secret to Success. And what I said was, you can have, do, or be anything once you clear up your beliefs. The clearer you are, the faster you will manifest what you want. The clearer you are, the faster you will manifest. And what does that mean? It means that you have counterintentions, you have blocks, you have things within you, in your mind, in your unconscious mind, that are actually what stop you from manifesting, attracting, achieving the success you want. You take care of those beliefs, those limiting thoughts, and you can have what you want almost magically. Why? Because the blocks were never on the outside. The blocks that you perceived when you said it was because of my boss or my parents or my upbringing or the government or anybody else or anything else, when you said it was their fault that you didn't get what you wanted, it was an incorrect perception. The blocks are in you. That's good news. Because knowing that you have the blocks within you, you can change them. And once you change them, once you delete them, once you erase them, then the clearer you are, the faster you manifest. This has been true with everybody that's been presenting here. Whether it was Mike Tyson, Jack Canfield, myself, or Andre Spira, the man who's put this whole event together. He was homeless 16 years ago. He's a billionaire today. Homeless to Billionaire is the book he and I have written. It'll be coming out in a month or so. I was homeless at one point. Today I've written 76 books. I have 15 music albums. I'm in 17 different movies. I'm an actor in a movie at this point. I've traveled all over the world. Look where I am now. I was born and raised in a small town in Ohio. Midwestern boy. For me to be here, the other side of the planet in front of you, is miraculous. And this is all available to you. It's all available to you once you get clear. And that was the focus of my talk yesterday. I'm just recapping it so you know where I'm going. Because what I want to do today is make this really practical, and I want to actually erase your limiting beliefs. I want to erase them once and for all, today, forever, here. Are you willing to do that? Are you willing to do that? Yes. That side again was louder. Are you willing to erase your beliefs today? Yes. Are you willing to erase your beliefs today? Yes. All right, let's all do it today, right? Yes! I'm going to show you 5 ways to erase those beliefs. 5 ways. And because this is fairly informal, and I know some of the people that are actually here, I even have a guest that'll come up for a few minutes to teach you a bonus way to clear your beliefs. And I want you to really get that whatever you've decided you want to have, whatever your level or definition of success happens to be, you can have it. You can have it as a result of today. You can have it as a result of the next hour. It's my promise to you that when you use any of these techniques, you don't have to use all of them, use any one of these techniques that appeals to you, and you delete the beliefs that have been hidden from you, you will then go forth and manifest what you want. Faster, more accelerated, easier than you ever imagined before. And all you have to do is participate. Again, I'm going to give you 5 techniques. We're going to have a bonus technique from a surprise speaker that I hope is here. And all of this is to change. She is here. I just saw her hand go up. And all of this is to help you change your life forever. And of what's happened to Mike Tyson, I mean, he's 14 years old, visualizing he's going to be a heavyweight boxing champion. 14 years old, and then is the youngest heavyweight boxing champion at the age of 20, through the power of the mind, getting clear, owning success before he is actually a success. And Jack Canfield, a school teacher who was making $8,000 US a year. A school teacher going on to create an empire with the chicken soup for the soul material. Me, homeless nobody, homeless in Dallas, in poverty for 10 years, being able to stand in front of you and share this material with you. Miss Universe has her own story. Jack Canfield and the other speakers have their own stories. They are not different than you. I'm no different than you. Oh, if you only knew. I am so completely human. I'm not from another planet. None of these speakers are from other planets. They're exactly like you. So when you learn these techniques, you apply these techniques, you erase the limiting beliefs, you can have whatever the vision is for you. The only blocks have been within you. That's it. Yesterday, if you were here for my presentation, I spent quite a bit of time asking you to focus on what do you want? What's your intention? Because you have to be clear about where you're going in order to get there, and you have to state where you want to go in order to bring up the negative beliefs. I mentioned yesterday when I decided to be a singer-songwriter at the age of 60, which was like 5 years ago, all kind of beliefs came up. Who was I to sing? Who was I to play guitar? Who was I to go in the studio? Who was I to learn how to record? I didn't know any of that. I never sang in the shower. I didn't sing behind the wheel of the car. All the beliefs came up that were limitations. And they came up because I stated an intention. My intention, my goal was, I want to write and record and perform my own original songs. By stating that intention, I triggered all the stuff that was in my unconscious, subconscious mind. This is why you want to state your intention. If you didn't do it yesterday, please do it today. And what I'm asking you to do is really think bold. I don't know what you wrote down as your intention, but I want you to make it bigger, bolder, and more bodacious. I want you to elevate the idea of what's possible. Yesterday, I also said, I don't think anything's impossible. I don't know what anything is impossible. I talked about teleportation. Scientists are starting to do it. I talked about time travel. Scientists are starting to do it. I talked about limb regeneration. Scientists are starting to do it. I don't know that there's anything impossible. So whatever your goal is, why not believe it's possible? Yesterday I wore a t-shirt that said, "Expect miracles." Would you welcome it in your life if it showed up over the next few days? One of the things Mike Tyson said in the interview he did the other day when I was interviewed, and Jack Canfield and Mike, we were all taking turns, is that because I wanted you to have the mindset to go there. Instead of expecting the worst, or in the United States they expect crap to happen or variations of that, I want you to expect miracles. I want you to have that mindset that anything really is possible. And today I'm wearing a shirt that says, "Dare something worthy." Dare something worthy. Because I want this goal to be something that ignites a fire within you. I also said yesterday that one of my quotes that's out there on the internet is, "A goal should scare you a little and excite you a lot." A goal should scare you a little and excite you a lot. That should be thrilling to you, because now you're not just going after something that's just to appease you or entertain you. It's something that scares you a little bit, but excites you a lot. So I want you to write down your goal. If you haven't already did it, if you didn't do it yesterday, please write down your goal now. What do you want to have, do, or be? If I can wave that magic wand and say, "You can have it," I'm going to wave it. You can have it. You just have to be able to tell me specifically what it is. What would you write down? I'm inviting you to do that right now. Write it down. If you haven't already, write it down. If you did yesterday, take another look at it. It all begins with the intention. I also want to congratulate all of you for even just being here. You could have stayed home. You could have slept in. You could have done what you've always been doing in your life. But something said, "This is the event to go to. This is the weekend of my transformation. This is the day and the time when I take a stand for myself and my life." So I'm applauding you for doing that. When I was homeless, we didn't have the internet. We didn't have things we take for granted. I lived in the public library. I love books. I'm a book addict. I'm a book freak. And so being in a public library in many ways was a blessing, but I was living there. But I was also learning and growing and stretching, and that's what you're doing here. This is what it takes. So it all begins with your intention. Everybody have an intention they've written down? One person said yes. I got a roar of a yes over here from my friend Steve, maybe. Have you all written down your intentions? Are you excited by them? Yeah, feel good? Would you welcome it in your life if it showed up over the next few days? One of the things Mike Tyson said in the interview he did the other day when I was interviewed, and Jack Canfield and Mike, we were all taking turns, is that you have to own success now in order to receive it later. This is one of the techniques I'll talk about in these 5 different processes I'm going to give you here in 1 minute. But I want you to look at your intention right now, what you just wrote down, and I want you to imagine it already came true. What would it feel like today if your intention already manifested? You're already living it. You're having it in this moment. It's not off in the distance. It's not going to happen in the future. It already happened. What does it feel like to have your intention now? Mike Tyson said he pretended he was wearing the heavyweight boxing champion belt when he's 14 years old. But he pretended that it already happened. And he said he pretended that he bought cars and houses and boats with the money that he was making as the heavyweight boxing champion. He pretended it, but in such a way that it felt real now. I want you to own your intention now. Take it on now. Pretend that it happened this morning, that it happened yesterday. What does it feel like? What is your life like? The more you can step into that, the more your mind will work with the universe to make it a reality in this objective world. This is one of the most fascinating things in the world. You can kind of trick your brain into creating your reality. You're already creating your reality, you just didn't know it because you've been doing it unconsciously. Now I'm teaching you the ways, and with the support of everybody else speaking here this weekend, in how to do it with deliberate intent. So I want you to own the fact that you're creating your reality, but now you've manifested your intention. What does it feel like? So look at your intention, imagine it already came true, and then we're going to move forward with these 5 different techniques. All right, let me see what... Okay, we live in a belief-driven universe. Change your beliefs and you get a different universe. This is one of my core principles. Whatever you're feeling in the world right now is actually coming from your beliefs. You don't know that because it feels like this is reality. Your life feels real to you, and undeniably so, because we live in this belief-driven universe. Your beliefs are creating your reality. This is how you can trick your brain. Your brain is already creating this for you based on your beliefs. If you start to imagine you already have your intention now, the brain will start to feel like, oh, that's what's supposed to be the new reality, and will start to create it. So the very first step here is to erase the limiting beliefs. To me, life is an optical illusion. When you look out into life, you don't actually see agreed upon reality, which is why there's so many people who disagree with each other. They're not seeing the mutually agreed reality, they're seeing their versions of reality. You are creating your reality based on your beliefs. When I was homeless and in poverty and I looked out into the world, the belief that I had is that the world was against me. It was scarcity, it was limitation. It was all stacked up for me to fail without deep struggle. Today, I look out into the same world. It's abundant. It's golden. It's full of opportunities. It's prosperity. It's success. It's amazingly juicy. It's the same world. It's the same planet. What's different is me, my thoughts, my perceptions. So life is an optical illusion. When you look at that, I don't know if you're seeing somebody look off to the side or if you're looking at somebody looking right at you. Both are true. Both are true. Is that a young woman or an old woman? It's both. Depending on your perception, you can look at this and you can see a young woman there, or you can look at this and you can see an old woman there. There's no right or wrong. They are reality, but based on perception. So beliefs create your reality. The meaning you give an event is the belief that attracted it. Belief filters all the information around and only lets you see a match to your beliefs. That's important to understand. There's science that is proving in this moment, there is 40 billion bits of information. It's sensory overload. Your brain cannot compute all of it. So there's 40 billion bits of information flying at you and me and you, everybody, right now. Your brain can only sort out about 7 bits of information. What does it do to sort that out? It sorts it out based on your beliefs. If you're suddenly interested in cars, there's a car show this weekend nearby or right next door with all kind of cars for the International Motor Expo. If you're interested in cars, you probably already know that's next door, because that interest is a belief. Your mind already knows you're interested in cars. Alert them to the information about cars. I'm interested in cars. I got alerted to that show because it's in my belief system. You probably have other beliefs and other interests. Those beliefs, those interests, is what's filtering out all of the available 40 billion bits of information and only showing you what's relevant to you. This is a heavy concept to get, but the meaning you give an event is the belief that attracted it. The meaning you give an event is the belief that attracted it. And what that means is you are creating your reality based on your beliefs. How do you find out what your beliefs are? One way to find out what your beliefs are is to ask yourself, what does this event mean? So you imagine that you go to lunch, you're having coffee, you're having a glass of wine with a friend, something happened that day, and you're telling them the story. Pay attention to how you tell the story to the friend, because you will explain it in a way that reveals your beliefs. For example, a lot of people come to me and say they're interested in attracting a certain person, or they're attracting their soulmate. They want to attract another person in their lives. And they'll go out on a date, say it didn't work, and one of the things they'll say the next day is, all the good ones are taken. All the good ones are taken. And they'll say it not knowing that that is the belief that created it. All the good ones are taken is a belief. It's not a fact. There's 7 billion people on the planet. Surely there's some good ones available. So you have to become aware of your beliefs. You have to become aware of beliefs versus facts. Beliefs are something we can argue about because we can't all agree with science or with measurement that it is so, that it is a particular way. Facts generally are measurable. You can weigh them. You can describe them. You can find some way to determine that we all agree that this is a fact. If somebody says, going back to cars, that a BMW is the best car in the world, that's a belief. We're not all going to agree to that. Science and surveys are not all going to agree to that. That's not a fact. It's a belief. You want to become aware of your beliefs. You have to be a belief detective. You have to look for the evidence for your own beliefs. You probably never heard of this woman. She was from the 1920s, Elsie Lincoln Benedict. Deeply influenced me, 1920s. This is before the big self-help movement. This is before Napoleon Hill. This is before Dale Carnegie. This woman was reaching millions of people. Before radio, there might have been radio, but before television, before the internet, before the telegraph, before all the things we take for granted. And she was teaching people that your subconscious mind has a prime directive in your life, a belief that it's working to create in your life. And you need to become aware of what that prime directive is in order to change it. She said, and I'm going to read this, your supreme subconscious wish dictates your life. It permits nothing seriously to interfere with its materialization. It is automatic, implacable. What you want most of all as a condition in your life, it will get for you. That's Elsie in 1921. I'm bringing it up because I want you to realize something almost nobody knows. It's part of the missing secret to success. It's the realization that you have an unconscious prime desire right now, a subconscious belief that is driving your behavior. It is driving what you are getting in your life. This is one of the most earth-shaking concepts and truths that I can ever share with you. Before I came out here backstage, I'm breathing, I'm meditating, I'm relaxing, and I'm asking the universe, the divine, how can I be of the greatest service to these people? How can I come out here and help them actually change and transform so they can attract the success they want? And the whole idea of knowing your beliefs, your belief prime directive, and the 5 ways to clear them is how I can be of the most service to you, which is why I'm taking so much time between yesterday and today to explain this. I want you to get this. I want you to be free of this. And what Elsie is saying here is that you have to look in your own life and say, and this is sometimes a tough love approach to your own life, What are your repeating patterns? What are your repeating patterns? Are you always struggling with health? That's a pattern. Or are you always struggling with romance? That's a pattern. Or are you always struggling with money? That's a pattern. You may have issues in different areas of your life, but more often than not, there is a key area that it just seems you haven't been able to shake yet. That it's been stubbornly there. And what Elsie and what I am asking you to do is to look at your life and just pretend if you knew what the belief was that would create that in your life, what might it be? And whatever that belief is for you, no right or wrong, and you don't have to share it, write it down. Because we want to clear it. For example, somebody might say that they've had reoccurring problems with money. They always have problems with money. They never seem to have enough. They just get to the end of the month and be able to pay their bills, and then they're broke again. Or maybe they struggle with the work, struggle with being a success in some monetary way. What might be an operating belief? One could be they still think money's bad, so they're pushing it away. If you think money's bad or you think money's evil, you're not going to allow it in your life. You're going to keep pushing it out. You won't even know it. You'll sabotage your own efforts and blame it on somebody else. But it'll be you blocking your own good. Another subconscious desire could be along the lines of, I don't deserve good. I don't deserve good. Now, obviously, you all deserve good, but if you subconsciously think for some reason you don't, you will find ways to abort your own attempts at success. You will find ways to stop it from coming to you. So just imagine you can figure out what the belief is. You can take a wild guess and write it down because we want to remove it. We want to do mind surgery and pluck it out. I want you to be free of it. Elsie gave suggestions like you can sit and reflect on what your subconscious might want for you, which will help explain what you are attracting. You can use your conscious mind then to offer new instructions to the subconscious. And again, I'm going to walk you through how to do this. That's all in the realm of understanding what your beliefs are. And if it makes sense or doesn't make sense, that's okay. Because right now, all I'm asking you to do is fine-tune your awareness. I want you to fine-tune what's going on in your own brain so that you can attract what you want. I don't know if you heard Andre speak yesterday. This is going to be in his book, Homeless to Billionaire. But he told the story of being homeless, and he told the story of being given the book The Secret, which was based on the movie The Secret. And he also, being homeless at the time and being skeptical and wanting money and wanting food over just a book, he decided to prove the principles in the book wrong. He wanted to prove that this stuff doesn't work. And he decided to try manifesting a cup of coffee. And when he did, he decided, well, maybe that was a fluke. Let me try to manifest lunch. When he manifested lunch, he started to believe, well, maybe this is actually possible for me. But he had to start with that self-awareness that he didn't even believe this was possible, but he was willing to test it. That's what I'm asking you to do today. I'm asking you to find what your beliefs are, work with these 5 different principles and our bonus principle I'll be sharing with you, and test it. Find out what you can have, do, and be in your life. Find out how much juicier life can be for you. So the very first technique is becoming aware of your beliefs so that you can erase them. Awareness alone of your limiting beliefs can take away the limiting belief. Just being aware of it. Is that good news or what? You can at least say, or what? Is it good news? Yes. Do you find this interesting? Yes. Are you still with me? Yes. Are you wanting to know more? Yes. Oh, that's good. I love that yes chant. Yes, yes, yes. So the second way that I teach people to change their belief is with coaching or mentoring. Now, I had developed a program over 10 years ago called Miracles Coaching, and you can go to miraclescoaching.com and read about it. But I have learned that you're going to have greater success when you have somebody on the outside of you, meaning outside of your belief system, who can reflect back to you what your beliefs are. When you're trying to change your own reality, it's like trying to play chess with yourself. You know your own moves. You're in your own reality. So in order to see outside of your reality, you almost have to have somebody who has stepped out of it and who can mirror back to you what you're thinking, what you're saying, and possibly what you're feeling to help you find out what your own beliefs are. I've also found that coaching, mentoring, and what's called a mastermind. A mastermind is when 6 or 7 or 8 people get together. Napoleon Hill coined the name mastermind in his famous book, Think and Grow Rich. But masterminds go all the way back to the 1600s, the 1700s. Henry Ford, Thomas Edison, Benjamin Franklin had one in the 1700s. If you're in a mastermind, it means you're in a group of people that you are first sharing resources, because you're all from different fields, 6 or 7 people there, but you're all sharing support, encouragement, and motivation for each other. You're also encouraging accountability for each other. I have been in numerous masterminds for decades now, and some of my greatest successes came from masterminds. How many know I was in the movie The Secret? Most of you. Well, what you may not know is how I ended up in that movie. I'm going to tell you the story I tell the public, and I'm going to tell you the behind-the-scenes true story. The story I tell the public is I wrote a book called The Attractor Factor, and a movie producer, television producer in Australia read my book, contacted me and said, I want to make a movie about the law of attraction. I read your book, The Attractor Factor. I would like you to be in the movie. And that's true. She did call. She did invite me to be in the movie, and I ended up in the movie called The Secret for that reason. But here's the secret behind the secret. A month before that call, I was at a mastermind with 6 or 7 other people. I went in that mastermind, and I said, here's my intention. I want to be in a movie. I have no movie experience. I have no movie connections, not at that time. None. But I want to be in a movie. And I said, I want a prominent role. I don't want to be the guy that's sitting in the back with my back to the camera in some scene, and I got to tell people, I'm that guy with his back to you in that movie. I wanted it to be something noteworthy, and I wanted the movie to be something noteworthy. I walked into a mastermind and stated that. The mastermind participants, none of them were in the movie business, but they held my intention consciously with love and with awareness, basically saying, well, if Joe wants that, let's help Joe get that by just holding the vision. Nobody made phone calls. Nobody had references. Nobody had a Rolodex of contacts. Yet a month later, I get a phone call that puts me in a movie that changed my life, a movie that's changing everybody's lives, that still see it, and it came out in 2006. That came from a mastermind. That is the power of a mastermind, and I want you to consider joining them or creating them. You can create your own. There's ways to do it. I actually wrote a book with Bill Hibbler called Meet and Grow Rich. Meet and Grow Rich is on how to create your own mastermind. So masterminds, coaching, mentoring is a way to discover what your beliefs are and release your beliefs. The rule of thumb of the mastermind is that there's about 8 people in it. This book, The Power of 8, is one of the more newer, powerful books that are out there. And Lynn McTaggart's written a lot of books. If you haven't read any of her stuff, please read them. Also read this one, The Power of 8, because she has found that just 8 people can change not only those 8 people's lives, but everybody those 8 people touch, and including all the people in the community of those 8 people. It's amazing. It's incredible. It's miraculous. It's called The Power of 8. I see some of you trying to take photos of that. I'm sure Amazon, your bookstores, all those places have it. Heal others, heal the world. It's a powerful, powerful concept. The third way I want to talk about erasing your beliefs is with something called stretching. Stretching is not something I used to talk about because I didn't really consider the value of it. But what I'm really talking about is leaving your comfort zone. Because when you leave your comfort zone, you start to find out what your beliefs are. Much like when I said I wanted you to state an intention at the beginning of this presentation and yesterday, and I wanted it to be big and bold and bodacious, and then expand on it, and to dare something worthy, to make it even bigger than what it had been before. Why? First of all, I believe you can have it, because nothing's impossible. Anything is possible. And second of all, stating that belief, that intention that you want to have, brings up the counter intentions, the phrase I use for the limiting beliefs. I talked about this some yesterday. Those counter intentions are what's blocking you from having what you want. So when you state what you would like to create, you're going to go in that direction, but as you start to go in that direction, you will also bubble up some of the limiting beliefs. So stretching. This photo deserves a little behind-the-scenes story. In that photo, about 1 minute before it was taken, I took a nail in the palm of my hand, raised it above my head, and slammed it through a piece of wood, that piece of plywood. I drove that nail through that wood with the palm of my hand. For the first time, no training, no previous experience. I had gone to a weekend workshop that was for what's called strongman training. There are strong women who do this, but it goes back to the 1800s where it began with circus performers. And these people are really doing things like bending horseshoes with their bare hands, and twisting steel bars, and bending nails, and bending bolts, and driving nails through boards. And I remember going to that workshop because I knew Dennis Rogers, who's the main fellow in this photo there, who is considered the world's strongest man. He's been interviewed by Oprah. He does impossible things like preventing planes from taking off by holding them with his arms. There's video footage of him doing this. It's mind over matter stuff. And I went to that workshop wanting to know, what are the tricks? How are these people doing this magic? And I found out there was no magic. There were no tricks. They're actually doing this. They're stretching the idea of what's possible into ways that seem incredulous, that's miraculous, mind-blowing. And I went to that workshop, no experience, walked in the room, and there's 30 people there, all younger than me, all more athletic than me, all more experienced than me, all had done strongman training over me, and I'm there as the newbie. And I remember Dennis saying at one point that we were all, each one of us, got to stand in front of the room, like walk up here, and there'd be a piece of that wood there, and we're all got to put the nail in our hand, raise our hand, and slam it through that wood. Now here's what he said that is so relevant to you. To you. He said, you can all do this, but you won't. You won't because your subconscious mind is going to stop you right before your hand goes through that board. Your own mind will stop you from getting what you want when it thinks it's dangerous for you. He said, I'll show you how to position the nail in your palm. I'll show you how to swing your arm down. The wood is fairly soft, so you can get through it with the right amount of impact and intention. But if your mind is thinking anything like a doubt, a fear, an insecurity, anything that's questioning this, as you're bringing your hand down, you're going to slow it down, you're going to twist your hand, you're going to move it away from the board, you won't hit with full impact, you'll do something to abort your own effort for success. The secret, he said, is that you have to have your brain in alignment. Your mind, your subconscious, and your conscious mind have to be in agreement that you're going to do this. So I watched person after person come up to put that nail through the board, and every one of them failed on the first attempt. Some on the second attempt. Some on the third attempt. And Dennis said, what you have to do is tell your mind that you are doing this with full intent. No wishy-washy, no backing out, no sort of weakness. And after each person got that, each person put that nail through the board. Each person. When it came my turn, I had already seen 15 or so people do it. And I already saw what the mistakes were. And I already knew that if my mind wasn't in alignment, I wasn't putting that nail through the board. So I told myself, I am putting the nail through the board no matter what. Clarity of intention. The power of a focused intention. I am doing this. I raised my hand up and I walloped it through that board. To my own amazement, the nail went through the board. I stepped back and they took that photo. I'm tilting the wood back. Dennis is there, Iron Tamer, David Whitley is there. I'm smiling like a little kid because in that moment, reality changed for me forever. I remember I put the nail through the board and I stepped back and I stared. I stared. There's video footage of me staring. It's only a couple seconds, but I stared because I realized if I can do that, I can do anything. If I can do that, I can do anything. There are variations of this kind of stretching exercise. You don't have to go and put a nail through a board. I don't even want you to do that. You know, Tony Robbins, the famous author and coach, has people doing fire walks. It's one of the ways he got his name to fame. That was a form of stretching. There are ways to do this that are not dangerous, but also tell you, let's go and stretch. I ended up writing a book about this whole idea of stretching, in this particular case, from what I learned from the strongman. And that bag of things that I'm holding there, that pile of things in my hands are nails, bolts, screws, bars, horseshoes that I bent by hand. Why? Because I could. How? Mind power, muscle power, and some technique. But the lesson I want all of you to get is that anything is possible for you. You can gather this from what I'm doing and from what other people are doing. And again, the teaching tales you're getting all weekend here from Mike Tyson, from Andres, from myself, is that if they can do it, you can do it because none of us are different. You have the same means, the same facilities, the same faculties, all of it, to make this possible. I am so excited. Anything is possible. I mean, that should be your new mantra. The thing that you tell yourself, it's your new belief. Anything is possible. Whatever it is you wrote down as your intention there, you should, at least a part of you, be thinking, anything is possible. I'm a musician now, singer-songwriter. I performed on stage with my band, the Band of Legends, performed solo at an event recently called Own the Stage. It was a stretch. It caused a lot of fears to come up in me. I worked hard to get past them, and I did. Andres, our homeless to billionaire sponsor who has put this entire event on, has done things like he climbed Kilimanjaro last year, or 2018, this year. He wants to climb Mount Everest, and he's looking for people to go with him if anybody's interested. He does skydiving, he does scuba diving. He lived in an underground cave for 5 days with his fiancée. It was a kind of a test to see if they got along together. True story. He's hiked in Peru. He's told me personally he's got some of his best stories, his best ideas, when he's stretching his body and his mind doing these physical things. So this technique about stretching means stretch to do something that makes you uncomfortable. Not dangerous, just uncomfortable. Now I want to talk about technique 4. Let me ask, are you ready for technique 4? Yes. Have you enjoyed the technique so far? Yes. How many know who Neville was? Anybody? A few people. Yes, a few of you know. Neville was a mystic, a spiritual teacher and author. I think he died in 1970. there's been a wave of interest in him since, because of books like mine. I've given a lot of credit to Neville for changing my life. And Neville Goddard taught something really powerful that I want you to get. This is similar to what I said earlier when Mike Tyson said at the age of 14, he's wearing the heavyweight boxing champion belt at the age of 14. He's visualizing it, feeling it, but it's so real to him, it's like it's going to happen because it's already happened in his mind. He was feeling it real. He was, in a sense, doing what Neville taught. Neville Goddard taught that if you can feel it real, you can manifest it into reality. This goes back to what I said. When you wrote down your intention, I asked you to pretend you already had it, to pretend that it was created today, or last night, yesterday. It's already manifested. What you're doing is stepping into the reality that it exists now. On a scientific standpoint, you are tricking your brain because the brain can't tell the difference between reality and fiction, which is why when you're having dreams at night and one's a nightmare, you're scared. Your brain should know the difference, but your brain pretended it was real and you felt that it was real when it really wasn't. But when you hold a vision of something that you want, and you step into it as if it's already happening in current reality, it will manifest. Neville had said, assumption hardens into fact. Assumption hardens into fact. And what that means is, what you're assuming that you would like to experience will end up being created in your reality. It will harden into reality. This is Grammy-nominated singer Ruthie Foster, and she and I wrote a song and recorded a song called Feel It Real. The whole idea of that Feel It Real concept is for you to feel it real now to speed up the manifestation of it more quickly. That's not there. So you want to pretend that your intention's already happened. In a way, by pretending your intention already happened, what you do is collapse the negative limiting beliefs. You bypass them. Most people, when they go to visualize something, sit here and they imagine that they're going to have what they want next week, next month, 6 months, a year from now, which is powerful. Visualization works. Mental imagery has been proven to work. But what Neville taught is that when you sit here and imagine it already is done, you collapse time. It's no longer off in a distance. It already happened. And you also collapse the negative beliefs. When you sit here and visualize it off in the future, a part of you can doubt it. A part of you can argue with it and say, well, it's not here yet, or nothing's happening yet, or it may never happen. Those are all limiting negative beliefs. But if you can sit here and say, it did happen, I do have the car or the romance or the wealth or whatever the version of success is for you, and you can be here now feeling that it already happened, you will manifest it faster. You will have gotten rid of the limiting beliefs. I love this quote from Neville. Neville Goddard had said, you must be the thing itself and not merely talk about it or look at it. I call it a trance of completion. I've written books like Hypnotic Writing and Buying Trances and Hypnotic Marketing. My company is Hypnotic Marketing. I have a great interest in how the mind works and how you can be put in trances. All of you have been in a trance. It's been in the trance of scarcity and lack and limitation and struggle. What you're learning today is to go into a different trance. Life is an optical illusion. You get to choose. This different trance is one of abundance, one of power, one of magic and miracles. So Neville is saying you must be the thing itself and not merely talk about it or look at it. So your intention that you wrote down, you want to actually infuse your life into it. You want to actually put yourself into a kind of a trance where you realize it's already done. It's already happened. It's already been manifested. The more you can do that, the faster you'll speed up this whole process. Nevilleizing, I coined the name Nevilleizing to honor Neville, is actually one of my favorite techniques. It's one of the ones I do almost every day, for one reason or another. Partly because it's so much fun. I would encourage you that tonight, when you're laying in bed, as you're getting ready to go into sleep, you look at that intention that you wrote down, but Nevilleise it. Tell yourself and imagine, and in your mind, walk through the day as if that intention was manifested this morning. And as you go to sleep, feel the completion of it, the joy of it, the thrill of it. Because that'll program your mind to work with your unconscious and the collective unconscious to actually create it in your reality. It's a fun, fascinating thing to do. And the fifth technique that I want to share with you is called Ho'oponopono. How many people know about Ho'oponopono already? Quite a few. I know last year when I was speaking at the Success event that I came to in Bangkok, I spoke for 4 hours. And when I got to the point where I started to talk about Ho'oponopono, almost everybody in the audience knew what I was talking about. Ho'oponopono has become a movement. It has become something that is changing lives around the world. For those who don't know, I wrote a book called Zero Limits 12 years ago, something like that, 10 years ago. Zero Limits tells the true story, the most amazing, miraculous true story, of a therapist who helped heal an entire ward of mentally ill criminals by working on himself, not the criminals. He helped heal an entire ward of mentally ill murderers, rapists, violent criminals who had to be shackled or sedated on a daily basis, not by working on them, doing traditional therapy, but by working on himself. When I first heard the story, I didn't believe it. It took me a year to investigate it and learn about it and find the therapist. And we ended up writing the book together, Zero Limits. We ended up doing seminars together, Zero Limits 1, 2, and 3. We did a lot of things together. I wrote a follow-up book called At Zero, 10 years later. And all of this describes what he did to help cure, heal, and release those mentally ill criminals. And what he was doing was a Ho'oponopono process, which is a Hawaiian healing process. It's basically 4 phrases. They're up there. I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, and thank you. I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, and thank you. And you're saying them within yourself. You're not saying them to anybody else. You're not necessarily saying them outside of yourself. You don't have to speak them. But you say them within yourself, in your heart, as a kind of prayer, as a kind of petition, as a kind of communication to whatever you want to call, what I call the great something. Joseph Campbell said it was the great mystery. Some people call it the divine. Some people call it the universe. But it's a kind of prayer. It's a kind of petition. It is a cleansing, clearing process to remove beliefs, whether you know what the beliefs are or not, whether the beliefs seem like they're hidden or visible. Ho'oponopono is designed for you to have this internal 100% responsibility of a cleaning or clearing for what you perceive needs to be changed. When Dr. Hulen, who was the therapist in Hawaii, explained all of this to me, he said he did not work one-on-one with the patients. He didn't work one-on-one with the patients. He didn't work with the other people. He looked at their charts. And as he looked at their charts, he was feeling things within himself, sometimes rage, sometimes anger, sometimes embarrassment. It didn't matter. Whatever he felt within himself, this is a clue, whatever he felt within himself is what he did Ho'oponopono on. He was cleansing his perceptions. He was clearing his beliefs. He was noticing that his discomfort wasn't the other person. The other person wasn't even in front of him. His discomfort was coming from a trigger, and the trigger was inside of him. He was looking at a file, he would see something that that person had done, and the pain was in him. He did Ho'oponopono. I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. To remove the pain within him. Another clue. As he removed the pain within him, those patients started to get better. In the world of Ho'oponopono, the individual doing the Ho'oponopono takes full responsibility for their life's creation. When I first met Dr. Hulan, he would ask me, he says, did you ever hear the phrase, you create your own reality? And I would say, of course, I say that, and I write that. And he said, well, if you create your own reality, and these people or these events show up in your life, didn't you create them too? I went, wow, I never considered that full responsibility for our life creation. For most of us, we say, I create my own reality, but you create your own reality, and we got a dividing line here, and there's no real spillover. Not in Ho'oponopono. In Ho'oponopono, it says, you created it all. I created it all. So if there is anything out there that is perceived as a block to your success, it is not out there. It is in you. And this fifth way of clearing, this Ho'oponopono, is one of the most powerful, one of the most useful, one of the most magical, one of the most instantaneous processes you can use, which I use all the time. And in fact, it's the background audio in my brain right now. I have been saying, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, for over a decade. It's become the new self-talk in my brain. So even as I'm speaking to you, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, is going on behind the scenes in my mind. And why am I doing that? So I can be clear with you. So I can be present with you. So I can be of the most service to you. If I come out here with an agenda and I want to force something to you without paying any attention to what you really want or what you really need, I'm coming from a very egoic, slanted, one-sided perception of what's possible. But if I come out here and I've cleared myself to the best of my ability, and I am allowing myself to be, in a sense, a channel for inspiration, I can be of help to you because I'm out of the way. This Ho'oponopono, this I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, is something I've been doing for so long that I have heard everybody use it for everything. The interrelationship problems, money problems, health problems, family problems. I mean, people have helped their animals and saved lives. I'll tell you a quick story that's in the follow-up book, At Zero. It's a pretty powerful revelation. Several years ago, I got a phone call that my mother was dying. My mother was already dying. She was struggling for over a decade. But she was in the emergency room, and she was in intensive care, and the family was being called in. And I was living in Texas at the time. She was up in Ohio. I was traveling, but I had to drop everything, and I went there. And the whole family is there. And we are in intensive care, and the intensive care only has 5 people in it, 5 patients. 4 other ones beside my mother. 3 of them died while I was there. This is how intense it is. And I am seeing my mother on life support, and I am seeing my family around her, and I am aching. I am hurting inside me. And I'm thinking, where are my tools? How can I help? I'm not a medical doctor. She's in good hands with the medicine. They've got doctors, they've got surgeons, they've got nurses, they have all of that care there. I can't provide that care. And I'm watching my own family. They're in agony. They're confused. They're already grieving, and they don't know what to do, and they don't know how to process their emotions. And I'm no better at it. I'm sitting there as her firstborn thinking, isn't there a way for me to resolve this? And I'm feeling such pain. The only thing I can think to do was Ho'oponopono. So I sat in a chair. And as I'm sitting in the chair beside my mother laying there, I started saying, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. I did not say it on her. I said it on me for my pain. I was the one out of the moment. I was the one not in alignment with what was going on in that moment. I wanted to change the moment. I wasn't accepting the moment. I wasn't feeling the power or the magic or the miracle of that moment. I was feeling the pain of the moment. And what I learned with Ho'oponopono is that you use it to clear what's between you and the miracle of now. You use it to clean what is between you and the miracle of what's possible for you. So I sat there, and I'm sure to everybody else it looked like I was just in silence, or maybe they thought I was praying. But I'm saying, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, on my own ache. On my own ache. And as I kept doing it, and again, I don't know if an hour went by because I was into it, and I was feeling it. And everybody in the room was doing their own thing, whatever it was. I'm feeling that ache. I am doing, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. And I'm doing it as I'm feeling that ache. And at a certain point, I had a sense of peace. To be honest, I was not 100% at peace, but I felt more relaxed. I felt more trusting. I felt like everything is being handled. This is the right place for her to be. This is the right place for me to be. I have to trust. I have to let go. And I am of no help if I'm upset. So, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, until I get to the place of feeling some serenity. And around that time, they said that we had to leave, and we did leave. Family all went back homes to our beds and slept. And then I found out the next day my mother was better. She lived for another 5 years. She lived for another 5 years. I cleaned on me. Cleaning is what we use as the phrase. When you do Ho'oponopono, you're cleaning your beliefs, you're clearing your beliefs. I cleaned on me because I was the one having the problem. Dr. Hulen, again the therapist who had taught all this to me and co-authored Zero Limits, said, have you ever noticed that when you have a problem, you are there? You're part of the equation. You're part of the creation. You're part of what attracted it. You are there. So whatever the beliefs are, known or unknown, that you're experiencing right now, as you think about your intention, know that with Ho'oponopono, you can clear them. At Zero is the follow-up book to Zero Limits. I know a lot of people have read Zero Limits. That was the first book. At Zero came out 10 years later and has lots of stories in it, including the one of my mother, but lots of other stories that might be of interest to you. Now, before I go on to some of these other ones, I said there would be a bonus clearing technique. And what I want to do is bring up a dear friend of mine who is an expert on this particular technique, and she lives here in Bangkok. Shalini is an expert in the emotional freedom technique, which some people call the tapping technique. And this is a way to tap away beliefs. I use tapping virtually every day. When I was behind here, I'm doing Ho'oponopono. When I'm behind the curtain before I came out, I'm doing Ho'oponopono. I'm breathing, I'm meditating, I'm relaxing, but I'm also tapping. I'm tapping because I want to remove anything that's in the way of me being present with you. And I thought, well, I can teach you tapping, but there's somebody who has healed herself and has healed other people and teaches them how to be pain-free by using tapping. So this tapping technique is one you can use. It's a bonus technique to clear away limiting beliefs. Would you like to hear about it and find out how to do it and actually experience it? Yes. I got a big yes. Shalini, would you mind coming up? Either steps for you. Yes, she'll need a mic. Thank you for coming up, and great to see you. Thank you for doing this.
Thank you.
You can take it over, and you can bring somebody up if you want, or however, you can do it with me. I'll sit there.
We can do it as a group.
Do it as a group.
So, hi everybody. My name is Shalini Joshi Amdagni, and I'm so grateful to Dr. Joe for having me here. And EFT is, like he said, it's another clearing technique. I was in chronic pain 12 years ago. I was on bed rest, and nothing that I tried, sorry.
It's okay.
So nothing that I tried, I had a disease, and I had a lot of pain in my body, and nothing that I tried worked for me. And I had been, confined to bed rest forever. And so I thought, if none of these doctors and medicines can help me, that means I'm stuck. Until I discovered this clearing technique, EFT, emotional freedom techniques, that I used on myself, by myself, thank you, it was on the face, and healed myself completely. And so EFT stands for Emotional Freedom Techniques. It's known as EFT, but it's also known as tapping, as Dr. Joe was saying. You literally, so EFT is modern psychology meets ancient acupuncture. So what we do, it's called tapping because you're literally tapping on key acupuncture points on the body as you're thinking of a challenge that's bothering you, whether it's a physical pain or an emotional pain or some stress, whatever's going on in your life. And it's a weird-looking technique. I mean, 12 years ago when I got introduced to it, I thought it's really silly, it's weird, but how's this thing gonna help me be free of my disease and my chronic pain? And like Dr. Joe says, you have to be open because your mind will say so many different things. But I was desperate because my kids back then were just 5 and 6 years of age, and I thought, I don't want to be stuck here and not even be able to be a regular mom to my own kids, forget the job and everything that I had to quit. So basically, it looks really simple. It looks a bit silly while you're doing it, but I cannot tell you, it's the easiest, the fastest, and the most effective way to clear whatever is going on with you physically or emotionally. And you can use it. I healed it. I began by using it to clear my physical disease and my pain. But ever since then, I've used it for just about anything and everything. It can be used for clearing financial, challenges, limiting beliefs, weight issues, sleep issues, stress, anxiety, just about anything that's going on in your life. And so, what happens is when you're tapping on these key acupuncture points, you're basically kind of neutralizing whatever upset or dis-ease that's going on in your system. So it sends a calming, it's like a calming signal to the amygdala in your brain that's all high-strung, and it neutralizes this stress and anxiety that's going on in your system. And so the best way to, is anybody here familiar with the tapping? Oh, okay. So I don't know what's going on with you guys, and to get a really quick experience, the easiest way I find is to tune into, so the first step, it's a 3-step process, right? First step is identify right now what's going on with you physically or emotionally. So for example, if you have some physical aches and pains right now, maybe not big, not chronic pain, but maybe your shoulder feels tight, or you have a lower back pain, or your back feels sore, or you feel a pressure on your head. If something's going on physically with you, you might want to tune into that. And then, and if you don't have something physical going on with you, maybe you want to tune into something stressful, right? We're all here, and it's a nice environment, nothing stressful right now, but maybe, there's some challenge in your life and you're feeling upset about it, or last week something happened and you got really angry and you're frustrated and you're feeling helpless, or you're feeling overwhelmed. So if you don't have something physical going on with you, you can tune into that. So the first step in doing the tapping, clearing technique is to become aware about what's going on with me. So do you have any physical aches and pains that you can tune into, or do you have any stress, any frustrations that you can tune into? So number one step is just pick an issue right now so that you can experience this technique. Does everybody have some issue they want to work with? Okay. And the number two, the step would be, on a scale of 0 to 10, 10 being that I'm really, really in pain. For example, if you pick the issue of being in physical pain, then the number 10 would mean I'm really stressed. I'm really in a lot of physical pain right now, and 0 would be no pain. Or if you're picking something emotional, I'm so frustrated, or I'm so upset, or I'm so overwhelmed, 10, and 0 would be, I'm fine, there's no problem. So the first step is identify what's going on with you physically, emotionally. And number two is give yourself a number from a scale of 0 to 10 and pick a number. Just guess it. It doesn't have to be exact. Just if you have something going on, just tune in and say, how much is this issue bothering me, whether it's a physical and emotional, okay? So that's number two. So does everybody have some kind of a number? You can guess a number and just keep it in mind. Okay? And the third process is, of course, doing the tapping itself. So, I don't know what's going on with each one of you, but we can do a general tap. And I'm going to say some things, you just have to follow along, but with the intention of focusing on what's going on specifically with you. Because when we do, in EFT, we have a saying that, to get results that are terrific, you want to be very specific, specifically what's going on with you. But I don't know what's specifically going on with each one of you, so you want to, I'll be saying something general, and you can tap along with me, but stay tuned into what's going on with you, whether it's the frustration or the lower back pain or whatever is going on with you physically. Sound good? Okay, so let's tap. I'm going to just find a way to do this with the microphone. So we're going to tap on different parts of the body. So this is called the karate chop point. Okay, let me just show you. It's any point starting from the pinky finger right down to your wrist. It could be either side, right? So I don't know if you can see this, but that is the karate chop point because that's where you do a karate chop, right? So it's called the karate chop point. I'll just lead you quickly through the points. And the other point is eyebrow. Yeah? Eyebrow, it's the start of the eyebrow, and you could do it any hand. It's difficult to do it with both the hands. You can do it with both the hands, or you can just do it on the side. And the next point is side of the eye, under the eye. It's really easily accessible points, so you can do it anytime, anywhere. Under the nose, chin. Actually, it's not the chin. It's like this little cleft under the chin, right? Then there's a collarbone point. If you touch the collarbone, just that mushy part under the collarbone. If you see tapping videos, you'll see people going like that, or people do it in different ways. That's okay. The other point is under the arm, so it's like that. For women, it's kind of where your bra strap is, right? And the top of the head. Now we'd all look like monkeys. So these are the tapping points. So just follow along with me. Keep tuned into what's going on with you physically and emotionally. So, and you can say it out loud if you want, or say it in your mind, that's okay. So even though I have this stress in my body, I deeply and completely love, forgive, and accept myself. Even though I have all this stress and pain in my body, I deeply and completely love, forgive, and accept myself. We're going to say it one more time. Even though I have all this stress and pain in my body, I deeply and completely love, forgive, and accept myself. Okay, now we're going to go through the other points, and we're just going to tune into what's going on with us, right? So keep tuned into what's going on with you. I'm just going to say general words. So, all the stress and pain in my body right now. All the stress and pain in my body right now. All these things that are giving me aches and pains in my body right now. All these issues that are stressing me right now. Chin, all the stress and pain in my body right now. Collarbone, all the stress and pain in my body right now. Under the arm, all these things that are stressing me right now. Top of the head, all this pain in my body right now. Okay, that's one round, but we're going to continue. Let's tap on the eyebrow. Just follow along. Releasing all the reasons why I have this stress in my body right now. Side of the eye. Releasing all the reasons why I have these aches and pains in my body right now. Under the eye. Releasing and clearing and letting go. Under the nose. Releasing all the reasons why I'm holding on consciously or subconsciously to all the stress and pain in my body right now. Chin. Releasing, clearing, and letting it go. Collarbone. Allowing myself to feel light and free and at peace. Top of the head. Releasing, clearing, and letting go, and allowing myself to feel fresh and free and lighthearted and peaceful. And just take a deep breath. And so that's around a quick 2-minute round of tapping. And so the fourth step would be to check in right now. You're yawning, and that's a release. So if you're yawning, that's a sign of a release of whatever the stress has been. So the fourth step would be to check in right now and see what number did you write down, whether it was a physical pain or a stiffness or a tension, or whether you were feeling frustrated, angry, upset, and check in and see what's happening with that right now. What was your number? Did that shift for you? If it was an 8, did it become a 6? Did it become less? Is there anybody who experienced any shift right now? Okay. Yeah. And that's with just a couple of minutes of tapping. So what you want to do is you can use this technique and repeat the process a few times till the intensity comes really low. And it's a technique that you can practice anytime. I've been tapping a lot, even when I was sitting there, and I tap all the time. But it's a tool that is really it's quick, it's effective, and you can see the results instantly within 2-3 minutes. I mean, I saw a bunch of hands go up. And so this is EFT tapping, a very quick, brief taste, but I've used it to clear physical issues, emotional, anxiety, stress, like Dr. Joe was saying, blocks about beliefs. Last year I was here at Dr. Joe's event, and I was sitting in the audience, and one of my intentions was to be on stage with him. And now we are friends, and I'm on stage. And that's also part of the clearing technique, releasing and the limiting beliefs. So it's a wonderful clearing technique for just about anything.
What is your website? Where can I learn more about you?
Yeah, so my website is basically EFTThailand.com.
EFTThailand.com.
Yep.
Give her a great hand.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So much.
Oh, that was awesome. That was awesome. Okay, what I've given you here were the 5 techniques I promised you, and then a bonus one from Shalini, which was fantastic. And again, tapping is something that I do every day. And the whole purpose of all of this material here is to help you get clear, to help you raise your vibration, raise your energy, and to implement the missing secret. The missing secret meaning that you have counter intentions that have been preventing you from having what you want. You've now stated an intention. You've been owning what that feels like to have that intention in your life. You now have these 5 techniques and a 6th bonus technique to remove anything that's in the way of you having that intention. So for me, this is a very exciting moment. This means you've already planted a seed for success. This means you've already aligned your body and mind and your unconscious and subconscious so you can have, do, and be the very thing you want. And you're doing that with all of these people which have created an energy field that supports all of us in getting what we want. This is incredibly exciting. This is the turning point in your life. This is the time where everything from this moment on has shifted. It's shifted, maybe you already feel it, but it's shifted in a way that is in your physical body and in your mental body and in your spiritual body. And as you go out through the rest of the day and as the beginning of the next week and you go on through your life, you're going to find that you're going to refer back to this moment as the time when everything changed. As one more bonus, I want you to keep in mind, I have a chart up here. It says, being happy changes your vibration. It's very important that when you go back to work or you go back home or you go back to school or you go back to wherever your life is after this event, that you remind yourself of this event. A lot of times when people go home or back to work or wherever they go, they fall into the old rut because all the reminders of their old way of living are still around them. I want you to remind yourself of the new you. Change the furniture where you're at. Buy some painting and hang it up. Do something that you can look at every day that says, I am a new person. I've created a new life. I am transformed. I am attracting what I want. And then there are these 11 different ways to be happy, which you might want to remind yourself of every day, so you can keep the energy up. You can keep the momentum up. You can keep your feeling good as something that's a regular new habit. And I see some of you trying to take pictures of that, so please do. And there's everything from meditating every day. There's all kind of ways to meditate. You can just follow your breathing. Your breathing can just be you sit where you're at and you notice that you're breathing in and you're breathing out, you're breathing in, you're breathing out. Meditation does not have to be difficult. My favorite t-shirt 30 years ago said, meditation is not what you think. Pause. Meditation is not what you think. Meditation is not thinking. Meditation is probably not what your definition is of it. Practice smiling. Smiling, even when you don't feel like smiling, smiling changes your energy. It psychologically and physically changes everything in your system. And it also confuses everybody around you. They're wondering why you're smiling. Sleep more. One of my favorite things that I'm still working on. I need to sleep more. But sleeping, oh my God, I wrote a book that was called The Law of Attraction, Famous Quotes or something like that. And I said one of the greatest ways to change your life is simply take a nap. Take a nap. Practice gratitude. Gratitude is so amazing. There are several movies out where I tell what's called the pencil story. And the pencil story is where I reveal that during my time of poverty and struggle, and I was doing what you're doing, I was trying to learn, I was trying to research, I was trying to absorb new information, but nothing seemed to be working. And everybody would say, well, you need to be grateful. And I would say, yeah, I'll be grateful when I have something to be grateful for. Because I was angry and I was skeptical and I was struggling. But I remember that I thought, well, maybe I should try this gratitude scam. And I picked up a pencil. I think you all have pencils that came with your books. One of those famous numbers. Can I have your pencil for a moment? One of those famous number 2 pencils. Thank you very much. Yeah, one of these things. And I remember looking at the lead. And you got to remember, I am unknown, I am unpublished, I am alone, I am angry, I am frustrated, I am wondering how life is going to ever change. I'm living in a one-room efficiency that costs $200 a month, and I struggled to have that. I was driving a car that broke down all the time, and when it broke down, life broke down. It was a horrible time. You've all been there, you've all know it. And I picked up the pencil, and I looked at the lead, and I thought, okay, I guess I can be grateful for the pencil. I can be grateful because I can write a grocery list, and I can write a suicide note, and I can write all kind of crappy things. I guess I can start to write, I can write a poem, I can write a song. I guess I could write the great American novel. I can write a movie script. I can write a grocery list. I can write a love letter. And I started to get excited. Oh, holy smokes, from a stick. I can write affirmations. I can write intentions. I can write life scripts. I can change my life with that tip. And I still, every time I tell the story, I start to feel differently, just reawakening that moment. And then I turned the pencil over and saw the eraser. And I thought, this is genius. This is genius. You got a stick that you can write and change your life with. And if you don't like what you wrote, you got an eraser, a piece of rubber on the other end. I don't know who invented this, but this is genius. Note, I was still broke, still unknown, still struggling, still in that place where I was not grateful. But because of the pencil, a window opened in my soul that changed my life forever. Because of the pencil, I got a peek into a universe of possibilities that was there all along. But I didn't see it and I didn't feel it because I was dismissing it. I wanted life to be different first, and what I found out is you want to be grateful first. When you're grateful first, everything else changes. My life began to change in the moment I actually played with the pencil. And I was in a movie that's coming out soon called Becoming the Keys, and I told the pencil story, and I was telling it to a woman that's in the movie, and she said, "How much for that pencil?" And I said, "It's not the pencil. You can take anything. You can take your cup of coffee. You can take your water. You can take your shoes. You can take your pet. You can take the air that we breathe. You can take anything. And out of that anything, you can move into a spirit of gratitude." And I am grateful for this pencil, sir. Thank you. I want you to keep it. Thanks. That's one of the techniques to change your vibration. Helping others, a couple hours a week. Andres Pira, our homeless to billionaire friend, who has put all of this together for everybody, our benefit, specializes in helping others, but doing something for others. Exercising, it said at least 7 minutes. 7 minutes. Going outside, just getting a change of environment. Going outside when you've been cooped up all day or all night. Move closer to work. I've been in Bangkok long enough to see that the traffic here, you should move closer to work. Spend time with family and friends. Obviously, spend that time. Plan a trip, but you don't necessarily need to take it. That's an important insight. There's so much fun in just thinking about the possibility of going somewhere that you get all excited about it. You don't necessarily even have to go. How about that? Play the ukulele. I love playing the guitar. I do have a couple of ukuleles. Don't know what I'm doing. But there is something that's fun when you just kind of strum a ukulele. Same thing with the banjo. I think it was Steve Martin who said, if you strum a banjo and everybody starts smiling. Everybody starts smiling. So what I'm offering here are these different ways to remind yourself to raise your vibration, maintain your motivation, maintain your inspiration every single day. And I'll give you one final tip. You're meeting wonderful people here. There are people here that are probably from the local city, the local environment, and you should be networking with them, exchanging business cards, having lunch with people. I think you're going to lunch next. And during this lunch, find out who these other people are. Befriend them. You're all on the same quest. You're all on the same journey. You're the leading edge thinkers. You're the leading edge seekers. You're the leading edge people making a difference that the other people are going to be looking at you and wondering what you're doing because your lives are changing. but you can support each other. So don't make this a solo experience and you come in here, take your notes, and then leave. Grab a few friends. Have coffee with somebody. Talk about the stories you've heard. Practice the techniques together. Practice the tapping together. Share any insights you have with somebody who may not have those insights. Befriend other people. This is all part of how you create a success environment that creates success forever in your life. You don't do it alone. Life is a co-creation. You do it with other people. You do it with the universe. And then finally, I want to say thank you. You brought me here. You manifested this event. You are powerful attractors. You are powerful beings coming into your own right. You're starting to feel your power. You're starting to feel the empowerment of realizing you can have, do, or be whatever you want. You are the ones that are going to change this planet. So thank you for bringing me here so I can meet you, be part of this expansion and part of this miracle. I am forever grateful, and I love you all. Thank you.
Give it up one more time for Dr. Jeff Vitale. Yes ขอบคุณครับ